Good morning and welcome to the Celebrate podcast. I'm Lisa McGarry, co-owner of Celebrate Primary Care.
I'm Della Tootin, the other owner of Celebrate Primary Care.
And we are here today for the Celebrate podcast. We are on every Tuesday live on Facebook at 11 and live on YouTube. We want to thank Fiesta Media for Elio for producing our podcast every week. He's doing a great job. And then if you just want to listen anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, we are on all the platforms according to Elio. And I'm not going to list them because we all know that I don't do well with that. But anyway, I am excited today. We have Lori Schiffbauer with St. Francis House. You know, you were with United Way, so in my brain sometimes I still think that. I'm so sorry. But she is the director at the St. Francis House, which is, tell everybody what that is, and then we'll get into, talking about you and all that.
And scallops.
And scallops.
We were talking about scallops before.
Yes,
so
we got to get back there.
Get to the scallops. Well, St. Francis House, one of the things that's interesting is most folks do not realize we actually have 3 properties. Oh. We have St. Francis House, which is on Main Street, and that is our shelter for single women as well as families with children. We also have Arbor House, which is on 6th Street. It's beautiful. It's this old building that's got connected by breezeway, gorgeous architecture, and that is transitional housing for single women or women with children. And folks are there normally from 1 to 2 years with the idea that they kind of get ahead, they get a jump start on getting their own place, because Arbor House is communal. Everybody has their own room, but they share common living spaces. Okay. So the idea is we're going to get you into permanent housing, your own place, your own home. And then we have Sunrise Inn Residence, which is for low income and homeless, obviously, and same with Arbor House. Single individuals, men and women. We actually have some residents who have been there for 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and it's affordable housing. I want to say 31 of the units are subsidized by Alachua County Housing Authority. Okay. So these are folks that really have limited potential for earning income. Some of them are retired, or some of them are partially disabled, and other folks just, that's where they are.
Is that down on 13th?
Off of 13th.
Okay.
Yeah. It's right behind La Tienda.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two apartment buildings.
Okay.
They're so those are all ours. So we were actually probably the first nonprofit to actually start providing affordable housing for homeless, as well as serving the homeless in our community.
Nice.
So that's kind of
Look how much I've already learned. I had no idea all this.
No, most folks don't. They think that we're a soup kitchen, and that's all we do.
I knew it was more than that, but I didn't realize all those other properties.
Yeah. And we do, obviously, we serve our homeless and our hungry during the day, 7 days a week from 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock. We also have 2 case managers there on site at St. Francis House. We have a case manager also at Arbor House, to work with the women as they're transitioning into permanent housing. And the folks from our unsheltered homeless, when they come to get food, they can also get things like essentials. If they need clothing, toilet paper, toothpaste, shampoo, whatever. And if they're interested, we will help them with placing them and getting them housed. So all they have to do is say, look, I'm ready. I'm ready to get housed. Can you help me? And then we move forward, and they work with the case managers to get them what we call document ready.
What kind of requirements are there for people to get housing?
It's them. It's an individual. Do you want to be housed? We recently have had 2 great success stories, folks, both on the street for over 20 years, and finally said, I'm done. One was living on the street, one's been living in the woods, and with that, we're really excited about that. He has chosen, we call it a diversion program, so that we really work to connect them back with their family or their friends. Aww. And he hasn't had any kind of communication with his family in like 15 years. So now they're communicating, and he's actually moving back up there and is going to be permanently housed. He said, I'm 62, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, and family and friends are everything. He goes, that's where I want to be. So it was, it's great, but it took him a long time, and we really worked with him this last time because he had been in and out of St. Francis for what we call respite. Respite care is if somebody was homeless in the hospital and they're well enough to not be in the hospital but not well enough to go back on the streets, we have 2 rooms at St. Francis, 2 beds at St. Francis House where they can stay and recover until they're healthy. And this is the 3rd time, like in a year and a half, he's been in respite. Okay. And he said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So it was great, Yeah. So the requirement is, I'm ready. You know, obviously the folks who come into the shelter, the family and the women, they are already ready. That's what they've called. And we really work to focus in empowering them and letting them know that, look, you just made the first step to success. You're not on the street. Your kids are safe. You're not sleeping in the car. You're on your way to getting there. You know, so then they work with the case managers. They develop a case plan. They develop a budget. We help them find housing. We help them find employment. As I started to say earlier, we get them document ready. A lot of folks don't have IDs. You know, they need birth certificates to get their children enrolled in school. So we get all the paperwork that they need to help them get the services and get back on to be permanently housed. I always mention to you that one of the things that's interesting with our families is 97% of them are first-time homeless. They've never been homeless before. Something happened. You know, their car broke. They didn't have the money to get it fixed, and so then they lost their job because they didn't get the car fixed, and it's like, you know, chicken or egg type thing for folks. I think I said that in one of our B&I presentations. The reality is they just didn't see it coming.
Yeah, they weren't prepared. They didn't have any safety net or anything.
They didn't know. And, you know, in Alachua County, we've talked about ALICE, which is asset limited income, restrained and employed, which means that they're working, but they're just making it, you know, so if something comes up like that.
Right. It's like,
it
And
pulls
that's
the rug.
sponsored by United Way, correct?
Yes, United Way, worldwide.
Yeah.
As we say, international, but it's worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
hear
put that-
Dana talk about that a lot.
Yeah, it's valuable, and it's really great for me as an executive director looking to get support from the community to identify, look, this percentage of the population are right here.
right.
Yep.
They're on
And
the
this is
line.
going to put them to where they're going to be homeless.
Yeah.
So the majority of your funding comes through United Way, private donors. Where is it?
The majority of our funding is through private donations. Our individual donations are really high. A lot of organizations struggled with COVID in terms financial and donations, and we actually had an increase. I think people were aware that for the first time that this, number one, this is really serious, and yet people are now homeless because they've lost their jobs.
Yeah.
So we had a real outpouring from the community in terms of individual support. We do get United Way funding. We get money from the county. We get money from the city, a couple of state grants, a couple different federal grants. So we do have grant funding, but the majority of our funding is individual, which is great because when we go to the city and the county, they're like, well, people must like what you're doing, so okay, good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It helps with other support.
Yeah,
To say
absolutely.
that. That's
I
awesome.
let earphones.
You're
are just
You're
yeah, it's
sliding.
sliding backwards.
falling
So
backwards.
You're back.
How have you handled, because you do have people coming in and out? How do you handle COVID?
We had to make lots of changes, you know, and one of the things that I kind of share with folks is that it really was an opportunity for us to make improvements on things we probably should have been doing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, things you take for granted, like not making people wash their hands when they come in to get the meals. Well, they do now.
Yeah.
We should have been doing that
Before.
you know, so little things like that. Our first major move was that we used to have our day meals provided in our cafeteria area inside, and we had to locate them outside. So we were able to get a grant through the county and bought what's called a shed barn or shed pole barn. So there's a shed, and then there's this big pole barn area, and then we have heaters and fans out there as appropriate, and people came and got their meals that way, so they weren't actually physically in the building. When COVID first came out and we could not get testing done easily, we had to quarantine folks that were coming in the shelter for up to 2 weeks to make sure that they didn't have any kind of symptoms, which was a challenge for the staff because it meant me bringing literally meals to people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And monitoring people, and when they used the bathrooms and the shower areas had to be cleaned down. So very, very rigorous. Now we actually require folks before they come into shelter to get a COVID test as to whether or not they're negative or positive. If they're negative, we contact, Alachua County Social Services because they have a program for folks who are homeless and test positive for COVID where they can house them in hotels until they've recovered. And then we can get them into shelter.
Yeah. Who's doing your testing?
Whoever they want to go to.
Okay.
They can go to, Care Spot, Urgent Care, CVS. It's up to them. I mean, we give a list, basically. These are the folks that are doing free testing.
Got it. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this position?
About a year and a half.
Awesome.
Yeah, right before COVID. I started in January and COVID hit February and March. So.
What a time to start in. Well, at least
Yeah.
you didn't have a long history of like, this is the way it was done.
Always
and
done.
So, you were maybe more open to the
Change
needing
it.
to change it.
And the team was. I mean, they'd had the same executive director for about 20 years, and things were just kind of routine.
Status quo.
Yeah, and all my team have been fantastic. They just embrace the whole idea of excellence. It's like you don't just come and I'm just going to do my job. No, I'm going to go over and beyond. I had a team member the other day. I was just so proud of her. I almost cried. It's like, oh my gosh, you were so good. This poor woman, we found her in the restroom, and she looked like she was kind of getting ready to hit her head. She was laying on the floor and found out that she heard voices. And that wanted to get rid of them. And this team member, Tavia Sumter, if you see this, you're awesome. She spent 5 hours on the line with Meridian, with the crisis center, etc., making sure this woman got her help. And even though she had to go through all these hoops, to get her where she needed to be, she never gave up. It was like, no, this is going to happen. So that's excellence.
Right.
It's not like, oh, okay, well, let me know how
Sorry.
you feel.
Right, yeah.
Tomorrow, if it
Yeah.
gets better.
Right, yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
just that
Yeah.
step.
And the whole team is like that. They really do a great job at what they do. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, I'm
That's
so
good
proud
to
of
have.
them.
How many
That's good.
staff do you have?
We have a total of 15. About half of those are part-time. Our case managers, we have 3 full-time case managers, 1 full-time chef, myself, Caitlin, who, as I mentioned before, splits marketing volunteer, and then our director of operations and HR. And
So in the past, you've been able to have volunteers come in and help serve. Is that happening now?
No, we
No.
do not have volunteers serving food in the thing. Folks still can donate meals. They can pick something. They get pizza or chicken or something from wherever.
How many people are you typically serving?
About 35.
So 35 a day.
That's just the evening meals.
Okay.
During the brunch area, the 9 to 12, we have anywhere from 50 to 60 folks that are coming in addition to the 35.
So if somebody wanted to connect and say, provide a meal or provide something, who would they actually connect to?
Caitlin Drummond
Okay, and they can find her on your website.
On the website.
Right, and
Same.
message her directly.
Correct.
And then she can hook them up with how to help.
Yes, and you sign up.
Okay,
You
and
know,
I know that he has that website put up for
Yay,
us.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Because, so many people do need services and, and food and all of the things that you guys provide. So, and a lot of times people are looking for ways, organizations are looking for ways to, give back and help. And this is a great, opportunity.
Yeah, it is. Well, there's also, if you go to our website, we have an Amazon wish list. We have a wish list. One of the things we like to do when folks leave is to give them a welcome home basket.
Yes.
So that they've got plates and cups and cleaning supplies, mops, brooms. So people are like, oh God, yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
I don't really want those anyhow. So you can.
Yeah.
Who likes to do housework? So I don't. I do it, but reluctantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, folks still have ways that they can support. We did a back to school drive. We had lots of folks come together to donate backpacks and school supplies. So that was great.
Right.
And even during the winter, we did accept coats and stuff, but they had to be new
Brand
at that
new.
point.
Yeah.
So
Because-
new coats. What about a food bank? Do you have anything like that you have for your
people-
residents?
We have, yes, absolutely. And before folks actually get housed, they kind of go shopping.
Yeah.
Kind of take what you'd like so that you get a start. And if they need food later, they come back.
Okay.
You know,
awesome.
so that we can continue helping. So food donations are always very, very welcome.
Awesome.
There's a lot of ways. And one of the things too, just briefly I'll mention is that last year in 2020, we're still pulling our numbers for this year, we housed 108 families with 159 children.
Aw,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
more than just shelter. I mean,
Yeah.
the ultimate goal really is to get them
Success.
permanently and stably housed.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like, it's not just they're out and they're out. We've got them out, but like they're going to be successful.
Well, and we follow up with them, sometimes for up to a year. It really depends on where they are,
Yeah,
because
and what they
sometimes,
need.
and what they need. Things change. You could get pregnant 3 months after you're housed, and you're like, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? Now I need, early care, daycare. And now I
Yeah.
need to get diaper supplies, and I need to get hooked up with WIC, and I need to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your continuous outreach
To
for
follow
them.
them.
That's good.
Yeah.
They
They
need that.
People need that. It's a safety net and they need that support. And so it's great that you have that available to them.
Yeah, we've got a 98% recidivism. There I go. Which means only, of the people that we house, 98% of them are still stably housed after 1 year.
That's good.
That's
So
awesome.
we're excited about
So
that.
it's working, what you're doing. Hey,
So
that's
Lori,
good.
would you think that, you serve people that come in to the community that hear about Gainesville as being, like supportive,
A safe
helpful,
place.
or do you find most people are coming out of the community that have been here long term and have just lost their safety net?
It's a combination. I would say that the majority of folks are from here, and the folks that we do see who are coming from there, we call them travelers.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily, they're homeless by choice, and they go from one area to the next, and sometimes they pick up a job somewhere, they stay there for a while and they decide they want to travel.
Nomadic.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I get it. It's like the, Romania and the gypsies.
They just come and do their thing and then move on.
Excuse me. Yeah, they're travelers.
Okay.
So we don't see a lot of influx from out of state or even from outside of Alachua County.
Yeah.
Alachua County is pretty big, and the reality is that within our, excuse me, I'm going to move this. Almost worked.
You want some water?
Yeah. No, I got. I think the reality is in our other communities that are surrounding us, they are so rural. Transportation for them to get to Alachua is a challenge.
Right, it's a lot.
It's like it's too far to walk. There's not bus routes that bring people. That's one of the things that we're part of what we call the continuum of care, and that is funded by the federal government through HUD. And the COC oversees all the different agencies that provide homeless and hungry services. So ourselves, Grace Market, Family Promise, Peaceful Pass, all those organizations are part of the COC, and we serve all those areas. And we have struggled consistently in trying to find services for people in our rural areas. So that's a
Yeah.
challenge. So i.e., no, we don't see a lot of people coming
Outside.
because it's a safe place.
Right.
It's just they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to take a sip of water here.
So what would be right now in the state that we're in, what would be your greatest need? How could we help the most?
Well, I think that there's a couple things. Donations are great, and one of the things that we're working towards is developing what I call sustaining members. People who make a commitment or a pledge to donate on an ongoing basis, and we've never done that before. So it doesn't matter if it's $5, $2,500, or $50. The
It's
amount
an
doesn't
amount you
matter.
can consistently
We
expect.
can budget.
Right.
It makes it easier for us. And obviously, it's a pledge. It's not a, commitment. If you say, look, I can't do it, it's okay. Or no
Yeah,
harm, no
yeah,
foul,
yeah.
I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
my house flooded. I need best restoration right now. I can't, I can't donate.
Yeah.
So we're really working to do that. So anybody who's interested in that type of donation, but the first thing would be just to contact us.
Yeah.
We love to let people know the work that we're doing. We do provide tours, not big tours. I'm saying if somebody wants to come in, we mask and just to kind of show folks. We get the playground areas, and we're really excited. GACAR did a fundraiser for us, and they raised over $18,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we are completely renovating the playground over at Arbor House.
Oh,
And
good.
I can't wait. We got Rusty from the Master of Lawn Care came out yesterday, and we did a walkthrough, and we're talking about tetherball and picnic tables. And
It's
also-
exciting.
It is, because the kids need a safe place to play. And a fun place where they can just be kids.
Yeah.
So we're going to make that happen along with the Masters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So we've talked, you have there's an event coming.
We have several events, and
Okay.
we're figuring out how we're going to play this because, when we started planning this, we did not have the spike that we
Yeah.
have right now. So we're being very cautious. Both are outdoor events. One is going to be rock, paper, scissors over at First Magnitude, which is so much fun.
It is entertaining.
And
to
Elia
watch.
is going to be there with us today. Then we also have a sporting clay shooting event that we're going
Which
to
you do. You've been doing. You guys have. Is that something you've
No,
always had?
we have not done that.
Oh.
What kind of got me interested is that my husband shoots trap, which is a little different than the sporting clays. I used to go to all the tournaments with them, and they're fun. And it's a good group of people, and they really enjoy it. And there's a couple different folks in town that I know that have been participating in some of the clay shoots out in Bradford. So we're
Okay.
planning that much later. I think it's like November 19th or anything. I think the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we're working to get that together and, developing sponsorship packets and letting people know, put together their teams. And rock,
Good.
paper, scissors, we're going to, we always have a costume contest
Yeah.
along with
That's
fun.
true.
The rock,
I do
paper,
remember that.
scissors.
I've been a
Yes,
few times. I do not rock,
exactly.
paper, scissors, but I can support it
Yes.
anyways.
Yes.
I rock, paper, scissors all the time with my kid.
You do?
So to get them to do.
Well, we need a team. And the great thing about, especially because it's at First Magnitude, is it's kid friendly.
Yeah.
You know, so, and we had children participate last time that we did
It is
so.
hysterical. I
Oh,
mean, so
some people
funny.
take it so
They're very
seriously.
serious.
They're like, I'm warming up.
Yeah, they're like doing calisthenics, and I'm like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, actually, David Roundtree, who's now with Community Foundation.
oh, he's not at Meridian anymore.
Yeah, no, he's
Oh,
he's
okay.
over at Community Foundation doing a great job. He has always put together a team called the DuckTales.
Oh boy,
It's worth it to go just to watch them because
entertaining.
Oh, they crack themselves up, and everybody else cracks up along with them. So it's just a really good kind of fun event.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
it's nice that you can do some outdoor events during all of this time, you know.
Yeah.
And people want to participate, you know, since, you know, a lot of the events that we've been involved with have been canceled or rescheduled. It's nice to know that some things will still go on.
Yeah, well, and we may have to reschedule, you know, the rock, paper, scissors. I mean, that's going to, we're going to play that by ear. You know,
Yeah.
we're not sure. And the county commission is meeting today and having some discussions about what they're going to do moving forward. And, you know, we'll kind of see how things play out. But again, just like we do at the shelter, CDC guidelines, and that's what we follow. So.
Of course, that's what we always recommend. For
Oh, you,
people
of
as
course,
well.
you all do.
Always.
Well, and they're
Oh, no,
constantly
they're-
changing.
All the time.
Yep, you have to keep
all
your
the
eye on that
time.
for sure.
They put another one out today about the vaccines that regardless of which one you got, they're recommending that folks who are immune compromised get a booster even if they got
the two
the,
or
the,
one
the,
or
the
whatever.
two. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that could change again.
Do you find that a lot of the population that you serve are getting vaccinated or not getting vaccinated?
We don't ask.
You don't ask.
What we did do, and if we need to do it again, we will. We partnered with UF Health and the health department, and had first we had testing that was going on. They came out like once a week for about a month into testing, and then when the vaccine became available,
They
they
came out.
were able to vaccine folks.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't know. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I mean, really, you
It's hard to
can't.
track for you.
Well, it's not.
It's an invasion of their privacy.
Yeah,
Yeah, feels like a lot.
you know what I mean.
And you know, they probably don't want to isolate them by like, oh, you're
Oh,
not
sure.
vaccinated. You know what I mean?
No.
That probably feels a little
Awkward.
challenging.
Yeah, it does. And you know, even with our agency, you know, internally, you know, we did not mandate the folks get vaccinated because, you know, just concerned about it's still not FDA approved.
Right.
You know, and even though I'm vaccinated, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
it's like okay, it certainly was not something I was going to force folks to do, but they chose to.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
that's good.
just to let them know it was available and gave them time off from work to go do it, and you know,
All that
whatever you
stuff.
needed.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but we
awesome.
we don't ask that question. You know, now we do when we have cold night shelter or extreme weather shelter, and we open up the cafeteria area to our unsheltered homeless. We do take their temperature, ask if they've been exposed to anybody, do they have any symptoms, da da da. We've got this whole list of like 10 questions they have to answer. And if they do have symptoms of COVID, then we can't allow them into that. And again, we contact the county to see if we can get them housing for that night. So
Yeah.
I was surprised. I don't know the reason, but we did not have as many folks come in for cold night shelter as we normally do.
Interesting.
And I don't know if folks were just on their own making a decision to social distance, you know, or it just kind of happened
Yeah.
that way. You know, you just never know.
Well, we don't have any cold nights right now.
No, but we
It's
also
not.
do wet hurricanes.
night, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's the
Wet
hurricane,
nights.
yes,
Yeah,
wet
wet
We got plenty of
We
those.
got, yeah.
Wet and stormy instead
Wet
of dark and stormy. It's wet and stormy.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
Well, Lori, we're gonna have to have you on again. Like, we didn't even get to talk about the lake house,
Or
we didn't
the
get scalloping,
scalloping, or
we didn't get to
Swanee,
talk about any of that cool stuff. So we're gonna have to. We just talked about how awesome everything is you're doing over there at St. Francis
Well,
House.
it's a team. I mean,
Yes.
it is. I definitely credit
but
my
you
team.
have to have a good leadership and have kind of set the pace. So you're doing a good job.
And you
over
have a
there.
great
Thank you.
heart.
Yeah.
And you care about what you're doing.
I do. I'm very,
You
very
can-
passionate
you
about
can tell.
what I'm doing. It feels really good.
They're lucky to
get
have
people
you.
housed. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I feel very blessed to be there and be of service. You know, when I was a kid, my mom asked me when I was 12, Lori, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I don't know. I just want to make the world better, you know, and that's what I've done. I've been doing nonprofit work. I'm going to date myself since 1985,
Yay.
That's
you know,
awesome.
so that it's just my calling.
So Lori, we talk a lot about like a health tip, and I think, you talking about, I think when people feel down and discouraged about the situation, if you can do something for other people, that kind of sometimes will lift you up as well.
100%.
And change your brain and the way you're thinking about the situation. Because I know a lot of people feel discouraged right now, and I would say get out there and do something for somebody else.
Well, and I think sometimes, I've said this a couple times before, is that, just say hi to people.
Smile at somebody.
Yeah.
If you have your mask off,
Yeah.
and they'll look at you like shocked because.
Well, even through your mask, you can smile. I mean, you can see the eyes go up, or you just say, hey, just saying hi to somebody sometimes can change somebody's day, whether you're homeless or not, especially for folks who are homeless, because, they become faceless to a lot of people. They don't really look at it. They don't see them.
Right.
They see the sign, but they don't see them. And of course, our homeless families, they don't want to be seen. You're not going to see families on the street. They don't want their children
hide.
taken away.
Right.
They're hiding.
That's true.
To make sure that they don't get found. So they are truly the unseen homeless in our community. So
Craziness.
it's important to recognize them. Just in the school system, there were 300 what we call McKinney-Vento homeless folks who are couch surfing, doubled up, whatever, with over 600 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just in Alachua County. And they talk about the families that are living on the street that are literally homeless. So it's just, but nobody talks about them.
Yeah.
Because they don't see them. So talk about it. That's what people can do to help St. Francis talk about that there are
Go to the
homeless families.
website.
Exactly.
Yes. So for our viewers and listeners, go to the website, support them. She said $5 a month would help. $50 a month would help.
Anything.
So anything, go on there and help them out. If you like rock, paper, scissors and you're local, you'll have to keep your eye out for that. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you
but
for
we
being
want
here.
to say thank you.
I
We
appreciate
enjoyed it.
you
We learned
ladies.
so
It's
much
so good to
today.
see. I know. Thanks.
I know. We've been Zooming on BNI, so it's actually nice to see people in person.
In person,
right?
yes.
I love people.
Me too.
Anyway, so join us next week live at 11 on YouTube and Facebook. And we want to thank Fiesta Media, and we'll see you next week.